Yeah, I got most of the way through it, but I wanted that camo, man, and
You got it.
I got her. Yeah. Yeah.
Did you feel that was an OCD thing or just like a goal that you set for yourself? Like, I really want to have, you know.
I think there were days like where, maybe, I saw it, I lusted over it, I looked at it, I previewed it, and I thought, man, how neat would that be? And I also was kind of enjoying using them, but
I don't think that's OCD, Chuck.
no, wait though. Okay, yeah, that's not. You're just that's how it starts, though. Okay,
That's how it starts. Chuck, the mics are hot. Welcome back to the pod, man. I missed you.
yeah, I missed you too, man. The mics are definitely hot.
And the ground is lava. Watch out.
Holy shit!
It's funny. I was watching a Game Ranks video yesterday, and they have really good top 10 lists and top 15s and top 20s. Sometimes they'll go hardcore with their top lists,
Right.
And I don't remember the exact name, but it was like top something, some number of things that gamers always do that they shouldn't, or something like that.
Okay.
And oh god, what was it that was cracking me up? It was the the walking into lava. Like, one of the things that gamers always do is like when you're in a game and you see lava, it's like, I'm gonna jump into the lava to see what happens. And we know that it's very likely not going to be a good outcome, right? Like, no matter what, it's lava. But then again, there's also games where maybe you don't insta-die or nothing happens at all, and it's like you gotta test that.
Oh, yeah.
You gotta test it. You gotta jump in the lava.
Yeah.
I know what we're both thinking about right now. We're both thinking about Ark.
We are, and I'm thinking specifically about that time we were in that lava cave, and I borrowed your Cinemacrops for a minute, and you forgot that I had, and you just like basically jumped as if you were going to fly, and you jumped right in the lava.
That's right. I remember you said like, "Oh man, look at this loot that I found." I'm like, "I'm heading over," and I just ran and like jumped, and I like, "Oh shoot." And the Cinemacrops, of course, is comes in clutch because you can fly around the map with it slowly but surely. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Welcome gamers, non-gamers, PvEers, PvPers, and even NPCs. We don't discriminate. This is the New Wave Gaming Podcast episode... Oh shit, Chuck, what episode number
28.
is this? Is it 28?
Oh, dude.
Wait a minute, isn't it 27?
No, sir.
Are you sure it's 28, man? I feel like I gotta check right now. This is my own fault because we missed last weekend, and that was on me, listeners. I apologize. It has nothing to do with Chuck. I had some personal stuff going on. You know how life can be sometimes. So, man, Chuck, I totally believe you. Don't get me wrong. I just want to make sure that, like, I feel like I'm losing my mind here. It's the episode 28.
Yeah, I see that because it shows up in my Spotify, and when I'm looking at other
oh wow, we're showing up in your Spotify?
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
Right
We're showing up
Joe
somewhere.
Rogan.
At least we're showing up somewhere.
Yeah, at least in my little homepage there, we're right there
Yeah,
with Lex
man.
Friedman and everybody.
Hell yeah, dude! Right, yeah, same here. Right next to the Secret Podcast, next to Dr. Huberman and the Huberman Lab and Friedman and what else do I got on there? Got a lot of history stuff on there too. Yeah, I'm a pod whore.
I am too.
Yeah.
I've been digging Sleeping
I
with
love pods.
Celebrities is one of my favorite one. Like it's one that's made to fall asleep to. So they kind of talk like this, and they're like, "Okay, everyone, we're gonna kind of relax, and we've asked folks to instead of bringing their A game, to bring their Z game." Yes,
I might have to get it.
Talk about. I think the last one, the lady talked about insurance for a long time. It's like
That'll put anybody to sleep.
like actually in California, they're stopping homeowner insurance because of all the wildfires, and I'm like,
There it is. That's all I needed.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah, so my bad there, listeners, but welcome back to the pod, episode 28. I'm Ovox.
And I'm ChukTomahawk.
And we are stoked to be here with you. Today, we are talking about something that maybe not all of you have been through or experienced, or maybe you have and you just did not realize it. Maybe someone else pointed it out to you. Maybe you did realize it, but don't want to admit it. But we're talking about OCD gamers.
That's right.
And I am most certainly one of them, and I'm excited to get some giggles in about my OCD-ness. But Chuck, do you think OCD gaming has always been a thing? Since the dawn of gaming back in the 70s, 80s? We certainly know it's a thing now.
I almost have this picture of like maybe in the beginning, like especially computers were kind of associated with nerds, and I think there's also sort of a trait to being a nerd that you're a little. I think another word for it is anal retentive, like where you're just very fastidious about details, and I sort of associate that with it right from the beginning, because even to know how to navigate it takes a little bit of, like when you hand like a non-gamer that you're like, okay, log in there, and even that like takes a little bit of, almost nerd-like obsession to know how it all works. Like obviously the user interfaces are a little more user-friendly these days, but yeah, like just to load a game on the Commodore 64, say computer was it's like format, :B, space, all that was like pretty involved.
Yeah, it's involved, but I see where you're going with that. I'd kind of lean in that example. I'd kind of lean toward that being a passion perspective. Back in the day, they really were more. A lot of the gamers were the same folks that were. Especially in the early days, we know this from our earlier episodes, that like they were, the nerd geek core was also the core of the gamers because they were the ones working on them and exploring this new world back then. So, yeah, there may be some OCD-ness there, and maybe that was a little bit more of a passion perspective for them, because at the same time, we could probably go and like check out the living quarters of any of those quote-unquote 70s, 80s gamers, nerd crew, and I bet their rooms would be a complete disaster.
True.
You know what I mean? Like, sorry, I need to get closer to the mic here. So, and maybe we should iron that out, what we mean by OCD, because there's proper obsessive compulsive disorder, and I actually learned this from a Huberman Lab podcast that, it's one thing for a person to be actually diagnosed with that, and it's not cool. Like, it's not a fun thing to be living with, from my understanding. But then there's also folks that have obsessive compulsive behavior personality traits. Mm-hmm. And that's literally what I understood from his pod. So you can take his word for it, not mine, right? So I think that's kind of what we're going to be talking about, is those personality traits of OCD-ness within the gaming world and gaming world adjacent maybe a little bit. Yeah. I think we should maybe lay a little framework that we're not making fun of any like real mental illness here. Like I think we're talking about your milder traits because this is something some folks really do suffer with, and we're kind of laughing at ourselves here, like things that we do. Oh man.
Rather than
we're talking
someone that has like obviously something that can be incredibly painful in life. Altering for some folks, but yeah, these traits. If you don't care, I'm going to bring up the Wikipedia page. I was looking at it earlier. It kind of broke it up into a few different sort of parts that I found made it make a little bit more sense. And there's actually like a scale for it, I think.
A scale of OCD-ness? I'm probably a little bit higher there on the personality trait scale. Yeah, we're talking about the kind of OCD where you like. You're playing a survival game and you walk into your tribe's base and you see so-and-so just like perfectly lining up the cabinets or perfectly adjust, like that kind of where you're like walking, you're like, bro, relax, man. It's a video game. Chill. I've heard you guys say that to me a couple like, oh, Ovox has clearly been in here, and you'll open up the cabinets and all of our loot is perfectly organized in files and like arms, this file. armor, this file.
Yeah.
Building materials, this file. Instead of just a clusterfuck of everything thrown all over the place. That's the kind of OCD we're talking about. And yes, I am referring to myself here. This is one of my weak points.
Yeah.
Strong points.
Yeah, well, let me just throw out this more clinical definition of your more just proper what the disorder is.
Let's get precise. Let's get clinical.
Disorder is a mental and behavioral disorder in which the individual has intrusive thoughts, in quotations it says an obsession, and feels the need to perform certain routines, compulsions, and it is in parentheses after the routines, that repeatedly to relieve distress caused by the obsession to the extent where it impairs general function. And I don't feel like we go into that. Like you say, it's more of a personality trait than it is like where it's caused like some sort of disruption in our lives.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, and I'm sure there's degrees to that. So.
Yeah,
that's fair. Got to lay a framework here.
A little bit after that, they do mention this Yale-Brown obsessive compulsive scale, which I'd never heard of, which seems to have some validity to it. I read where it had been tested, in other cultures and things, and kind of still applied. I think there's a sort of a some things like hoarding is one that can happen. I think intrusive thoughts is the most disturbing one to me. Like I don't, I've never really had that exactly, but symmetry is one like kind of where you end up.
Oh, dude, that's me. Like we'll get into that. The last one, the intrusive thoughts, and then the symmetry are things for me within my scale of OCD-ness. And continue. Onward?
Yeah. I think, let's see. So we've got intrusive thoughts. You've got, let's see, symmetry is one, the hoarding, and there's there's kind of like a cleanliness sort of one where folks end up, kind of feeling like things are never like completely clean and can kind of go into a disturbing place. But yeah, that I don't want to bore everyone with really because like we're kind of making this distinction here. Like we're talking about personality traits more than we're talking about the
proper
full-bore, proper mental illness. But so it kind of falls out there, and I think for me, my experience is when I sat down to make this list.
Well, hold on though, because I had a question I posed, and
sure.
I don't even remember the question anymore. But it was, do you think the OCD traits within gaming have always been, or is it just a thing of now? And you kind of did answer it by going back and talking about the nerds and the geeks and how it took a lot of passion and intention and a little maybe of OCD traits to get through all of that. But so you're effectively saying, yes, you think it's been around since the get-go.
Absolutely. And I think it attracts those sort of folks to a little bit of a degree.
Dude, like, and I know you want to get to some of your OCD-ness, and we're going to do that. We got to, but we should save that too. I think a beginning OCD like behavior would have been like, for me, for example, if I go back as far back as I can within my gaming lifetime, which goes back to early 90s, something that I did a lot was always lining up the cassettes, in alphabetical order, just, and dude, I loved the feeling. And I know there's a lot of listeners that are going like, oh shit, me too, man. Like the feeling of all of your games being nice and lined up. It'd be something that you'd finish and then you'd start walking away from, and then you'd get about 5 steps away and you'd be like, double take, look back. Nice. It's my collection. It's my set, and there's only like 4 games there, whatever.
All in order.
And you'd always all in order and be like, can't wait to add another one. Just waiting for mom to take me down to Fred Meyer.
I already know where it's going to sit on the shelf.
Yeah, that was one of my first like OCD, like when I think about it and I look back and go like, oh yeah, that was kind of a thing because it was important for me to make sure that my cassettes, my little console, they would have been Nintendo and Super Nintendo, maybe a couple of Game Boy cassettes here and there, that were all lined up in an order and in the right place. They had to be in the right place. You know? Like going back that far, Chuck, does anything come to your mind? It doesn't have to be something necessarily that you did, but maybe that you was like, oh, that was very OCD. Like I can already think of another thing, but I want to see what you got.
I think back in the older days, I don't remember it as much. You know, I personally didn't keep my stuff really tidy. I would have been the guy that probably bothered you know, like because it typically, you know, that gaming setup was in the floor, and I just kind of had the games kind of stacked over there. I didn't have a shelf or anything, you know, that was designated for it, and so all that was just kind of in a big old pile in the floor there most of the time.
You didn't have a DAO for your cassettes, bro? Designated area of operations?
No, sir. I didn't.
You didn't have an
TV.
SOP?
Until I was probably high school age. There was no TV in my room. Like had I had that would have changed it, you know, because I would have, you know, had a little desk there and some things that where I could have organized it. But since I was in there in the living room, yeah, that just wasn't a possibility. And if I think of the way I played the games, yeah, it was much more just without thought. Like it wasn't like you were on YouTube sort of figuring out how to do it or anything like that. Like I just sort of, you know, the most OCD thing I would have done would have been like reading the liner notes and the booklet, the user's manual, like in its entirety, and knowing
that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, that kind of.
So that would have been like. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll study up on you for
them.
sure. That's something that carried up in my life, you know, even when I worked for the Forest Service, like, you know, it was nothing.
What would make it an OCD trait, in my opinion, is if you were to leave part of that manual, part of that instruction booklet, or part of that, you know, gaming tips or whatever from so-and-so game that you bought. Because as we talked about before, you know, the games back in the day, not as much so anymore, but always back then they'd come with like a booklet, a manual, tips, like lots of pictures, and there was a lot of presentation with each game. So if you were to not read all the way through it, would you feel like you were incomplete and needed to go back and finish it, or would that not eat at you? Because those are the intrusive thoughts that we're talking about when you make that description. That's the intrusive thought. You're like, fuck, I didn't read the last chapter. And since I didn't read the last chapter, I'm not going to be able to beat the game. If I'm not able to beat the game, then why did I buy the game? If I didn't... you know, those are the intrusive... That's exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Or was it not quite like that?
If I started having trouble in the game and something wasn't adding up, you know, it wasn't making sense, and I would question, like, I bet in that chapter that I didn't read, there probably was something that, you know, was going to point a light toward this. And so it would be in my mind, but it wouldn't be much for me to, you know, skim through there, sort of look for the bold print, look for pictures, things like that, you know, in the beginning.
You're a normie. You're just a normie.
I'm a little normal in that
So far,
respect.
you're just a normie. So far. We're going to unpack this a little bit more, see how normie you are. But see, my OCDness started way off, dude. Another thing that comes to mind that I'm guilty of, and I know lots of people are going to be like, yep, I can relate. And it still happens today, I think. Oh, sorry. I got a sneeze coming on. I can feel a sneeze. Oh, let me pinch.
Earth, wind, and fire.
I'm good. That's an inside joke, everyone. Earth, wind, and fire. That's a really funny one, too. I wish we could explain it. But maybe in another episode. That's funny. I'm good. I'm clear. Another thing was... and I know people are going to be like, oh man, I can relate to that one, is wrapping the cable around your controllers. I can remember that since Nintendo Entertainment days. The first Nintendo, the Famicom, you know?
Yeah.
You get two controllers. You're stoked you have your two controllers, and you just wrap them up, set them nice and neatly next to the console or in their designated location. Good to go. But not after giving them a thorough wipe down, because probably one of your sloppy friends got the Cheeto fingers all over it. So you have to wipe them down first and give them a nice cleaning and then wrap them and put them where they're supposed to go. You understand, everyone out there? That's how you do it.
See, yeah. I
And
think,
some people would go further and say, no, you don't wrap them because that hurts the cable over the long haul. So it depends. There's levels, man. If you really want to get OCD, there's people that are like, no, you don't even wrap them. You have to do like a special like hanging type of thing.
No, I'm more like I would see when you sat back down to play that you're sitting there unwrapping that thing, and I'm just like, I just soon left it where it was, and not gone through this. I will say, like, maybe at some point my mom has probably came along and said, you need to organize this area over here, and you don't want me to do it, obviously. So, that would probably motivate me to make it all nice and tidy like that. But yeah, I suffered through this a little bit of my whole life. Like I can definitely get sort of obsessive and compulsive about certain things, like being stored certain ways, but I tend to lean toward utility. Like a way this would come up, like a lot of people would be obsessed constantly about locking the bins on our fire truck because they didn't want things to get stolen. But I would also think, like, in an emergency situation where I'm trying to like get this hose out as quickly as possible, like I'd just soon take a chance that someone might steal it, like, which would be weird anyway. Like, what the hell are they going to do with it? Like, but I also saw their point. Like you should keep it locked up, but I also didn't want to be like an emergency sitting there trying to find the key and, getting it stuck in the lock and all kinds of dumb things like that. So there's a balance there.
Yeah. I mean, would they have it locked in an emergency situation, or were they talking about just having it locked in regular situations?
It kind of,
because an emergency situations is an emergency in the moment,
Yeah, you can't predict it. Like, so, it's not like we got a fire call and then someone got out and like, all right, let's unlock everything. Like, you just went the way you were. And, it might've been, you were at a restaurant, maybe 2 days ago and somebody locked all that up and I didn't realize it. And,
no, that sounds like, that's in a whole different world though.
Yeah.
I mean, go ahead. Sorry.
I certainly see the merits of both sides, kind of taking care of your stuff and keeping it organized and everything. But I can't say that I'm always that person. It shows up for me in just in different ways, that we'll get into, obviously, as we get into the more modern, gaming things. But the first place I ever noticed OCD, like just in my general life, was there's that saying, if you step on a crack, you break your mother's back. And I used to walk to school from this sort of duplex that we lived in for a while. And dude, it's a long freaking way. Like I mean, it's like a mile of sidewalk, and I would avoid them cracks like the whole freaking way there, just to protect my mom's back.
No. No, what can I say, man? You got any gaming examples though? Let's keep it gaming.
Yeah, for me, when I first thought of the topic as far as gaming, where it comes to play for me is a lot of times in Ark. A lot of my examples sort of lean toward that, and the most intrusive one that I just can't seem to stop is like checking the doors on the base like 97 times before I log off.
Oh God, that's a good. There we go, yeah. Chuck. That's a good example. See, you need to talk to someone about that.
It would disturb you, like if you literally watched me do what I do sometimes, like how I go shut them all. It's very clear they're all shut. Go back in my little room, shut the doors there, and then have to go do it again. Like, and maybe even
that just happened just now, dude. That's why I said, because I had already shut the doors. Like when they're closed, like I did shut the doors, but I signed out and I was like, "Oh, Chuck, can you check the doors? I forgot to shut the doors." And you were almost excited to go check them.
Oh yeah,
just to scratch your own itch.
Yeah.
I'm still on. I'll check them.
Oh yeah, like once you've said that, I'm definitely going to check them. And the way it shows up is. Yeah, dude, I've done that to just ad nauseum, like where, I know I just checked it, and I'll have that thought, like, oh man, is it really closed? And then, like, and I'll think
those are the intrusive thoughts, Chuck.
Yeah, and the next thought is like, it's like the tribe mates saying, "Oh man, what happened to all our stuff?" Like, and like, "Oh fuck, I'm going to check again," and it's almost like I do a bunch of checking then because I don't want to log out of the game and then start having those thoughts and have to load back into that whole process of, getting back to ourselves.
Oh, dude, you sign out, take a shower, you're good, you're in bed, just, throwing on your Sleeping with Celebrity pod.
Eyes closed, yeah.
And then just fucking like the meme. There's a meme about that where your brain just goes, "Hey, you forgot to unlock the doors." Boom, and your eyes open. I mean, you forgot to lock the doors.
Is the base
eyes
thing?
Open? Yeah.
Fuck. Oh yeah. We haven't been in a good proper, PvP. We did do that last run on Aberration or whatever, but some of those like dating back, a little ways back when we had some other tribe mates and stuff. Like, dude, I've just let this get way out of hand, where I have to check it like multiple times, and I've logged off and had to log back on.
I know that feeling, dude. It's so funny.
Oh,
you're just like, fuck, dude. What? Because especially on the PvP servers,
And I will say, I would say, when I think back, I'm thinking of probably hundreds of checks like that, and I would say probably maybe twice I've gone back and it was open, like, and if you get just one of those, like as someone with this trait, like you get one, oh shit, I really did leave it open, like that will like fuel that trait for years. Like,
yeah. That's funny. It is. It's a subconscious thing right there. Subconscientious.
Yeah.
Psychological thing right there. Because just that one or two times that it was actually open, it's like I just prevented a raid.
Good thing I checked.
And now I need to, every time I got to check because that was a raid I just prevented. Yeah. Your mind automatically thinks that if I hadn't found this door and locked it, we would have gotten raided
seconds
on
from
that
disaster.
Night. And then of course you go and you close the door and you lock it, and then we get raided the next day, and it didn't make a difference.
Yeah.
That's usually how that works on Ark. Man. Speaking of Survivor games, I think Survivor games is where a lot of OCD traits appear.
For sure.
I already mentioned at the top that something I do a lot is organize our loot boxes, like super meticulously, using files and everything, so that all of our vaults and everything is nice and organized. And it's funny because whenever you guys notice it, you always say something. You be like, "Oh, Ovox has been through here, been into this vault."
Just put him organizing on this stuff. Yeah. Yeah.
Because whenever I open one and I see just armor and ammo and weapons and building materials and building resources and raw materials and raw resources all mixed in one vault, my mind just starts getting those intrusive thoughts. Like, I can't walk away from that vault now. I now cannot walk away from that vault. I need to organize it, or my brain is just going to frickin', "Hey, Ovox, what a mess, man. What a mess. You should go fix that mess. You should go clean up that mess." Because that's just the same thing, like, not to bring in real life things, but in real life, I've always been, I think it's from my parents, just cleaning the room, cleaning the house, doing the chores, making sure things are organized, put that back where you found it. Are you in or are you out? Inside or outside? Like all that stuff, which I am very grateful for, but I think it definitely translated into my gaming life,
Yeah, for sure. I'm imagining a scenario like if we weren't on the same tribe, like if at some point we do just like we all got on solos and sort of went against each other,
battled it out.
Imagine if I broke into your base and I didn't take anything, but I just rearranged all that shit for you.
Just took it all out, deleted the files in the vault, and then put it all back in. It would just go in mixed. That's all you'd have to do. Pull it all out.
Somebody mentioned
delete the files.
Yeah, popcorning it for you. Like I guess that would be just like individually.
That would be even worse because then you'd be getting rid of it.
The timers would run out. Yeah. So
But
imagine if I just busted in there, like all your nice gear or whatever, and then just like you said, like get it all in my inventory and then put it back, dump it right back in there. Like
it would just mix everything together. Yeah, that would be worse than raiding me, dude. Just leave everything fine. Just blow one door, get inside, open well, you'd have to blow the vault so you wouldn't be able to put it back. So, but I see what you're saying though. That would be funny. And another thing. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I think that one's not too crazy. I mean, there's a way to put folders in the vault. Like it's obviously sort of built for that. You know what I mean? I mean that's within reason. I think like it's not.
How come no one does it?
It takes time, and I find that like you know how Arc is like it's naturally going to create situations where you don't get off of online. You don't log off when you meant to. Like, so let's say I've lost my stuff and I've got to go back and I get in this death loop for a while. And when I finally get back to base, I meant to log off 2 hours ago, but I've still got a bunch of crap on me. And, am I going to take the time to put it where it goes, or do I just want to dump that stuff in a vault real quick? Because I do have a fear that I'm going to die while I'm offline and lose that stuff. So I'd rather it be in a vault, especially something I'm worried about.
It sounds like you're just trying to come up with a good, solid excuse.
Yeah, you're right. I mean,
I got caught in a death loop, and gosh, it was just so late when I got back. Well, what about before the death loop? Organize your damn vaults. You hear that out there, listeners? I'm that kind of tribe mate. Let me join with you.
Where I'm going to throw you under the bus here is like
you'll love having me.
It doesn't stop
shit out
there
of your
for
base.
him. Like it becomes like dinosaurs, like things. Everything has to be straight after.
I park them, dude. I line them up. I park them. And they're all in order too. Like you got your Drakes, you got your Rexes, you got your, your Dodicaras, all the stuff. They're all just lined up. Or they're in cryopods.
I've been like with some of our, you know who we play Arc with. I don't have to say their names or whatever, but I've literally had conversations with them like where we're lining stuff up and we're like,
no, it's all good. Like with Mickey the Dick or Pepe Tortilla or
me and Mickey the Dick were talking one time. Like we were kind of lining stuff up and was like, let's leave this one just a little crooked right here and see if Ovox fucks with it. As soon as he gets here, you're just like, come landing, like you're like
coming hot on a dragon. Why is this vault not lined up flush with the wall?
You see your character face towards it, and then you kind of run around for a second. And then, there you go. Try to mention something like, "Hey guys, let's put this stuff over here." Like you just kind of came up some other way.
Yeah. Like, hey guys, wouldn't it look great? And all I'm doing is like low key trying to fix the vault.
Yeah. It's like, I think I'm gonna work on this over here, and you're like, we all know what's going on. And I will say, like,
it's good to know you guys were scheming behind my Arc back.
Yeah, we're just appreciating you.
Chuck looked up and to the left when he said appreciating you. Kind of scratched his neck. Yeah, just appreciating you.
But
can we kick this guy?
I do feel like maybe it's not like I think you have more trust now, like especially in the beginning, and as we go through each stage of the game, like I do feel like I'm getting a little better at building. But there definitely was a time where I felt like, you're always like, okay, hey, why don't you put this stuff down? Go ahead and place that refrigerator and stuff, John, and I'm like, yeah, okay, and just knowing for a fact that you're gonna redo it, like no matter where I put it.
Sorry, everyone. I had a little sneeze attack there. Make sure I don't got any boogers. Do I got any boogers, Chuck?
Oh, you look pretty straight.
I don't really want to see any of me bugs.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. No, it's not that bad. I don't tell you would you go ahead and place that. Go ahead and place that refrigerator, and then it's not that bad, is it? Sometimes, maybe back in up until I showed you the ladder technique.
Yeah, and that in itself is
an OCD.
Yeah, someone had to be a little crazy that started that, that figured that out.
So just for the listeners, in case you haven't played Ark, when you're building stuff and placing the items, like you can build all sorts of things. You can build refrigerators, smithies, which is like a working station, fabricators. You can build all sorts of appliances, we'll call them, and then you place them. But it's kind of hard. It's not hard. You can line stuff up pretty well, but if you want to be real symmetric, there's a mechanic you can use where you kind of take advantage of the game, and you just place a ladder down, and then when you get onto the ladder, your character perfectly lines up with the edges of the building. It perfectly lines you up with the ladder, which is lined up perfectly with whatever you're building on. So, long story short, when you use a ladder, you're able to perfectly line up things that you place. And that's what we're talking about here. So yeah, just the fact that someone actually figured that out, it was an OCD thing in itself.
Yeah.
And now everyone does it. Well, not everyone. I mean, most of us.
I do it a decent portion of the time. I wouldn't say all the time. And like the build we've been doing lately, it's kind of like I've had these moments where I'm just kind of getting stuff in there, like I have an intention of rearranging it at some point, but I just sort of want to, get it on the floor and sort of be able to look it over and that kind of thing before I really go to the lengths of getting it straight, sort of thing. And but I can't argue with the results. It does look better and it's more comfortable. It functions better. So.
Yeah. Things that are supposed to be usually work better.
Yeah. Yeah. and I mean, even say you end up in that scenario where you're being raided and part of your base is destroyed, it's going to build back. If I've jacked it up and put a bunch of stuff crooked, it's harder to fix that, under distress.
Yeah. Or get around. You can fit more in your base when everything's nice and lined up symmetrical up against the wall and all that.
Yeah.
All that fun stuff. Another OCD trait that came to my mind when we were thinking about all this stuff was, and because I've been experiencing it lately, is when you're in a game that has a lot of dungeons or caves, or you go into a house or a place or a room, or even on Ark, if you go into one of the artifact caves, is exploring every single path, every single room, even if you've already gotten what you want. Let's say, let's keep using Ark as an example, and then I want to use another example people will be able to relate with, is Witcher 3 or Skyrim or Ark. We'll use a cave because there's caves and dungeons across all of those games. It's in Ark, you're going for an artifact. In Witcher, you're going to kill you're doing a Witcher contract most likely, and you need to kill a beast and get the trophy. But when you get in there and you find the artifact, or you find the beast, or you find the diagram, or whatever it is you're looking for, you noticed on the way, most likely on the mini-map, or just observing, that there's all these little paths. Or there's a big room over there, or there's a giant room over there, or there's a ladder that goes down even more.
To a whole nother level.
It's a little inlet downward. And anyone that relates to this is an OCD trait, in my opinion, is if you don't do it immediately, you're going to go back and explore every single centimeter of that dungeon or that cave or whatever it is. And you probably won't find anything. There probably won't be anything, But we're trained. I think that's another psychological trait that we kind of got from gaming itself. Way back is games kind of trained us to not go immediately on the beaten path. I mean, I can think of plenty of old school platform games, like those old Mario games where, you can go forward and you'll complete the mission. But if you go backward first, you're going to find a secret sword, or you're going to find a hidden gem or a piece of loot of some sort. Do you remember those old games that always had stuff like that? For example, Metal Slug. I know you didn't play Metal Slug much, but I used to love that game. And it was one of those games where you had to it was a progression. You just move forward and the map would move with you.
2D.
And there were platforms, yeah. But if you walk backwards first, you might get a heavy machine gun, so that right off the bat you can start with a heavy machine gun, or you might get some rubies that give you points, stuff like that. So I think that is ingrained in us, at least us older gamers, and it's always going to kind of like push us to go, it's like, well, I know the objective is that way in that town or in that area of the map, but there's a whole bunch of open stuff over here that I need to explore first. And I think that's a little bit I was just going to say también. I think that's a little bit también. Also. A little OCD. OCD. Oh. No, what would it be? It'd be a síndrome compulsivo obsesivo in Spanish. Comportamientos de síndrome obsesivo compulsivo. Something like that.
I'd have to go.
Anywho, moving on.
Es poco problema con mental. En
su coco.
What is it? Cerveza is head?
No, that's a beer, dude.
Cerveza is beer, but what's
cabeza?
Cabeza, yeah.
Or you can just say coco. En tu coco. Your coconut.
Es poco loco, es no problema.
Remember that Cypress Hill song?
Persona.
Medio loco con el coco. Ido de la mente. Remember that? Cypress Hill? Insane in the membrane. Yeah. Insane in the brain. That was a great song, man.
Yeah.
Cypress Hill is pretty good. So, getting back to it. What else, man? Hey, didn't you post something up on our Facebook, our New Wave Gaming page, or did you? No, you posted on another page.
I did.
From
I posted
our New Wave
in a
Gaming
few places. I posted in like sort of a gamers over 30 type of page and
group,
No Man's Sky
page.
and Ark, and we got all kinds of responses to that. Some of them we've already talked about, like the ladder thing got mentioned in Ark for sure, and yeah, let's
read
look
some
at a
of
few
them.
Those.
Pull it up. Yeah.
Let's look at those.
What does Theo Vaughn always say? Pull it up, Riley.
Yeah, pull up people.
Pull it up, Zach.
People with mental illness trying to play video games. Is that possible?
Pull it up.
Let's see here. This is one. Shoot 2 bullets of your. This is in the Gamers Over 30.
Well, hold on. Before you mention what these folks said, what was the question exactly that you posed?
Honestly, I struggled a little bit. Like, is the grammar correct here? But then I thought, I'm a hillbilly, so why not just go with whatever the first thing I thought of? But should you? The question I asked as a hillbilly was like, what is the most OCD thing you have ever saw a gamer do? But I wondered, what is the most OCD thing that you have ever seen a gamer do? But
oh, you're asking if it was saw or seen?
yeah, I struggled with that a little bit, and as I was looking it up, my OCD or my ADHD.
Oh, dude, you started OCDing yourself.
Yeah,
while researching it. Oh, I see. So you've kind of almost fell into a black hole, is what you're saying.
I think at this point I'm wanting to point out that I have an idea that this might not be the best grammar in the world, like exactly how it would be done in the hard brace manual there, but APA style or whatever you want to call it.
APA. Yeah, no one's going to judge you, man. If you guys, hey, listeners, if you want to judge Chuck, like the page. Come follow us. Like the page. You'll see what we're getting after over there. We need it. We need our fellow gamers interacting with us and stuff.
I will say nobody commented down that road, so it must have rang fairly true to everyone. And if there's a listener out there, like comment, like put me on the right path of.
Call them out.
Yeah.
Like, hey, this is a great little chat discussion here, but by the way, you didn't ask the question properly.
And I'm going to say, if you want to see me like fuck up some verb conjugation, let's talk Spanish. I've been living in first person.
No one's going to hold you to the fire with your. You asked it perfectly fine, man. I suspect.
Right, and your question was what I did ask is, what is the most OCD thing you ever saw a gamer do? And we had a response from Michael Adams, who said, shoot 2 bullets of your 80-round magazine, then reload, shoot another one, and then reload, run around for a minute, and then try to reload your full magazine. and he's
Dude, I do that all the time, man, when we're playing Warzone.
I don't see that as a problem, really. Like,
it's gotten me into trouble, man. Like when we're in a hot moment and I'll down one guy and I know his squad mate's about to come around the corner, but I decide to reload.
Yeah, with
and
the
then while I'm
LMG,
reloading,
where it's like you're basically building a gun.
He comes around the corner. Hold on. Don't shoot me yet. You know, elevator music comes on while I'm reloading.
Yeah. 3 minutes later.
Clack, I'm down. It thirsts me. That's so true, man. Yeah. Good one.
Yeah, and I my response to that is like, stay ready. You don't got to get ready. Like I want that full magazine, and if I feel like I've got a little chance to get it, I'm gonna get it. You know, but you're right. You got to use a little discretion. You know, at times, especially, I feel like with my LMG, it's different. Like I almost have to put a different thinking cap on and be like, you know, if I've got 100-round mag and I've shot 25 and killed one person, I can, you know, just let this go for a minute and it's going to be okay. But I often forget and hit it, and you see how slow that freaking animation is, like, and you just want to stop at mid animation, like,
Yeah, you can do that too, by the way. Yeah. You can do that.
I feel like they've changed it a little bit. Like I've noticed, like I'll get halfway through it, and then I'll maybe hit an armor plate or something, and when it goes back to the gun's still half open, or something. I noticed the other day on the LMG. So, but yeah, that one.
That's funny.
So someone commented some stuff, and then the same guy, Michael Adams, commented back. He said, "There's an itch you guys have right now that can only be solved by reloading."
Shout out to Michael. Oh, dude, that's funny.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Maybe just mention, if there's any more, maybe just mention their first names.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. No big deal. I mean, it's Facebook, but you know.
Yeah.
And shout out to Michael on that one. That was funny.
Let's see here. What's another good one? This is right exactly what we had a user named Roland that commented exactly what you said about Witcher 3. He said, my experience, I saw myself playing Witcher 3. I searched an underwater cave for nearly an hour, checking every inch. It got so bad that I had to stop playing.
I'm telling you, man. It's like, because what if there's a really, really good sword, or what if there's a really, really good piece of heavy armor or light armor, whatever kind of armor you're rocking in The Witcher? Dude, you got to play The Witcher. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole right now. But yeah, I understand, and I've been there. In fact, I was there yesterday.
Yeah.
You know?
I have two like sort of little hacks that I use and that can kind of put my OCD to rest at times, and I've shared one of them with you before, and I don't think you heard me, but in this scenario, what I think to myself, like how I decide to just go on and continue, like when you probably should stop searching that cave, is I'll say, like, that's replayability. If I complete this game and I'm still have an itch to play it, when I play the next time, that's what I'll do. And that way I know there's still a little meat left on the bone out there.
Yeah, you could still make a nice broth or something. You could throw that bone in throw out a little water and make a nice. There's still something there to get some nutrients out of.
Yeah, some new experiences. In my second playthrough is how I think of that. And this is not gaming, but I feel like it's relevant because I'll share this story with you. When I was going to the University of Montana, I met this lady that was a Navajo Indian and a Native American, and she the Navajo blankets that they make are like world renowned. They're in Montana, like it's some of the best weaving in the world. And those ladies, when they do those blankets, they put one stitch in the wrong place on purpose. And so my point being is once I learned that, when I'm doing something like a big build in Arc or something, like I intend to do that. But let's say like you something does happen like at the beginning of the build or halfway through the build, you can say to yourself, okay, that's going to be my spot, that I would have put anyway. And it processes very different than, if I put 25, green M&Ms out there and put one yellow one in the middle of it for you. If you knew that was going to be that way in the end, and I think their thinking, was basically that no one's perfect. And, even though we have the ability to make these perfect, we're not going to. And I respected that. And I thought it was an interesting way to think about that. And I kind of think of that, like sometimes I'll be watching a program and back to my first example, like I'm watching an episode of The Walking Dead or something, and I got to get up and get something out of the refrigerator. I won't pause it. I'll let it keep playing, and I'll go look in the refrigerator, and I'll just tell myself, like, at some point I'm going to run out of things to watch, and I might watch this again, and that'll be new to me, when I do watch it, and just sort of think that way.
And I think you and the Navajo lady are psychos.
I can remember, I can't give you the details, but you were building something and it had something wrong, and you were like processing what you were going to do. And I told you that story, like while we were playing Ark, and like I could tell, like you didn't hear a word of it. Like
it must have gone right over my head. Like you're just speaking Chinese to me now. Leave one for character. Character, my ass.
Yes, it's like we all know that freaking wall's backwards.
It's like, why is the grain going the other direction? No, it must have snapped on the wrong place all the way in the beginning. No, I do. I'll tear a base down. I'll on this one, on our current build, I'm really like letting shit fly.
I agree.
Because
I wanted to mention that it does seem like you've gotten more trusting, or just like somehow like you're able to deal.
Well, there's also a thing in my mind right now that it's like I'm in your home. This is your playthrough, and I'm in your tribe.
I see. Yeah, I guess I did start before you came along. That's very insightful of you. I find that's really. Like very empathetic to think that way, and honestly, like the reason I've mentioned what I mentioned.
Don't get me wrong. Before you continue, because I don't want to forget this. Like, regardless of who starts first, I've always looked at our circle of Ark players as like there is no real boss. Like we're a team, and I really sincerely believe that and operate that way. But there is also an element of, if there were to be a last call or a final call, I'd always like who got this fiesta going?
True.
So like while I do look at our team as a sincere team, there is no leader. Everyone's admin, and whatever, do what you want to do, have fun, build it, destroy it, blow it up, kill it, tame it, whatever. And with me, there's always like Mickey's the boss, or Pepe not so much because he doesn't play as much Ark as we do, or like, all right, I got the space going, so and I don't even, it's not even something that gets manifested. Like I never even bring it up. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's hard to describe. It's more of a subconscious thing for me. Like this is your playthrough, your base. Your call. That's why I've been really like, I don't know if you noticed, but I've been really like, so what do you want to do?
Yeah, I would agree. I definitely have, and maybe I didn't just exactly relate it to that, but it's definitely appreciated, because I think the reason I noticed when it showed up on my radar is that there's things that like I've done where I didn't necessarily have it in the final resting place, like that, like even how it is now, and I haven't heard any complaints, like, so that, I know.
God, I am bad, aren't I? I do. I should be.
Yeah. There's stuff that I've sat down that I fully expected you to move that you haven't, and so
hey, yeah. Chuck, wouldn't you like it a little bit more if it was over here? Just like, why don't you know what? I'm sure you do. Let me move this for you. No need to respond. I got it. No need to even respond.
Dude,
I'll move that for you.
Yeah, I would say back in the day, especially when I had no idea how to build, like, it had to be frustrating for you. And I've thought, like,
I know,
like,
but I must have been a
like,
real dick too, and I hope I was.
Finish this room, and I'm thinking to myself, so we're just gonna pretend like you're not gonna move this stuff later. Okay. And like, let me I'll just
why do you
make it a
guys
little
even
crooked.
play with me?
Yeah.
Fuck, dude, you should kick me from the tribe now.
No,
Get off, jump off the pod, turn on ARC. You can kick me now.
I think that's something I just learned.
Send me on my way.
It takes a like, you need that variety of people to deal with all the different situations that come up, and yeah. Like I felt like working on a fire crew, like a 20-person fire crew. There's going to be people that, I wasn't the fastest hiker, but I could carry a lot of weight, and some days we needed to get there fast, and some days we needed to get a big pump up to the top of the mountain, and everybody's like, okay, here you go, Chuck.
Yeah.
So
did you get?
Yeah,
Go ahead,
we need that in our tribe. Like, I feel like, and
an OCD person?
a little bit of everything. You wouldn't want 5 OCD people. Like
Why, dude? Could you imagine the amount of work that would get done with, like, you put one OCD guy on the farming, one OCD guy on the building, one OCD guy on the organizing, one on the taming? Because an OCD guy is only going to bring you back level 150s, max level tames. You ain't going to get anything under it. So yeah, maybe 5 would do you good, huh? How about them apples, listeners? Huh? We're not that bad. What? I'm a little puffy right now. Pop my chest out. Put up your dukes. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, it all depends on what your goal is, I guess. Ultimately.
What else did we get in your questionnaire on the interwebs?
Let's see.
Give us another funny one.
Well,
something people can relate with.
This one guy, Dwayne, just pretty much said Cox. That's the most OCD thing he ever saw a gamer do was Cox.
I wonder what that even means.
I don't know. I like it.
Let me check that. That might actually. I mean, it's funny.
Excuse me.
No matter which way we go, it's funny.
Straight to
but
the point, I thought. Yeah.
Let me see. Hold on. Bear with me here, listeners. What does Cox with a CK?
Mm-hmm. Yep. See.
Mean in gaming. Let's see what it says.
No, I think he means cocks. Like
like penises?
Yeah.
Or roosters?
Bag of
Oh, bag of cocks?
Mm-hmm.
The cock game. Oh no, that's a different thing. Okay, he just must mean more than one penis. Okay, that's funny. But yeah, moving on.
Thanks for commenting.
Yeah. Did you like or love that comment? Oh, okay.
I just gave it a good old liking. But okay. This was kind of on my personal list too, like just sort of this 100% completion. We had a gentleman named Norton that commented 100% completion in a game with 100 side quests, trophies, hidden gems, and craft lists, etc.
Oh God, dude! Respect to those few people. Those people aren't. Oh, sorry, a little burpage here. Those people aren't just OCD, but they're a little bit psychotic.
I would agree.
There's normal people, and then there's psychopaths.
Well,
all the love
where I feel like I went into this, and I had kind of on my list of things that I've done that I felt like were OCD, is when I got on those Cali sticks there in Warzone, I got on that Cali stick rampage.
Oh, yeah,
dude, I got those things in Damascus camo, which like you had to complete everything. I had to kill people sliding. I had to kill people while holding green eggs and ham. I had to kill people while they had a hat on. Like
I had to kill people while I was organizing our loot in the crates.
I mean, it was like every
I had to cut them low, cut them high, cut them mid.
Get them right.
Cut them mid.
Had to
cut them titties off.
Under 5 minutes. Like there were just so many challenges, and yeah, I got most of the way through it, but I wanted that camo, man, and
you got it.
I got her. Yeah.
Did you feel that was an OCD thing, or just like a goal that you set for yourself? Like, I really want to have,
I think there were days like where, maybe, I saw it, I lusted over it, I looked at it, I previewed it, and I thought, man, how neat would that be? And I also was kind of enjoying using them, but
I don't think that's OCD, Chuck.
No, wait, though. Okay, yeah, that's not. You're just that's how it starts, though. Okay.
That's how it starts. Okay.
So yeah, and maybe I was still just functioning as a normal Call of Duty player at that point. I was in multiplayer and I was doing some different things and stuff, but ultimately it becomes all that I did. Like where, just day after day, like you're sitting down. It's not like I'm saying, hey, Pepe Tortilla and Ovox, you guys gaming this evening. Like it's just me and multiplayer, and that's all I'm working on. Like I'm not even paying attention to the team concept of the round anymore. I'm trying to get a kill while sliding. I'm trying to get a kill while, just, and that's,
I can see you, dude. You're just there getting after it, and you see like me and Pepe sign in on the top of the screen, blip, 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 and you're just like,
appear offline. They'll never understand. Yeah.
I got him. Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's hard because like in those games, like you can see all your weapons lying out before you. You got the scroller and all your weapons are there, and it shows all the levels at the bottom. And if you have your Cali sticks right there, and you can see that they're like level 50 of 50 maxed out, and then right next to it you have another weapon, whichever one it may be, and it's at like level 5. That's where it comes in. It's like, that just doesn't look right. I need to make that level 52. Because I can't have my maxed out weapon sitting next to an unmaxed out weapon. They all need to be maxed out. Yep. That's where the OCD...
And it just don't stop. It just continues and continues, and you see it starting with another weapon, and to me it sort of becomes unproductive at some point. Where...
Gaming?
I'm not necessarily getting better at that, even getting better at the game, yeah.
Gaming?
Oh, I know. Yeah.
I mean, the only reason we can... I don't know how I feel about this statement that I'm about to make myself, but if there's anything productive for you and I of the gaming part is that it contributes to our podcast.
Yeah.
So
we got that over everybody else.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think there's a fine line there too. You know what I'm saying? Here on the best, worst gaming podcast ever produced.
Wait, you just wait till those 50 years hear this thing. That's counting 2 for each person. That's counting 2 for each listener, 2 ears.
Yeah.
Our 25 subscribers are gonna love it.
Hey, I love every single one of them.
I do too. Thank God they're here.
If you're one of our 25 subscribers, followers, especially on the old Spotify's and Apple Podcasts, please rate and review.
Yeah.
You'd be helping us tremendously.
Tell us what you've done OCD.
Yeah, tell us hey, for real, tell us what you've done OCD. Hit us up, and we'll shout you out here on the podcast and bring it up in the next episode with all of our latest OCD movements.
But Warzone definitely comes to the completion, side of things for sure. I think that's where you can go OCD. I did have someone mention. I may have to paraphrase it if I can't bring it right up in front of myself here, but they mentioned in Warzone that they'll plant a mine and shut the door, and then somebody else comes along and they'll leave that door open, and that bugs them really bad. And I thought,
oh, dude, yes, thank you, whoever you are that wrote that. I'm not the only one that like. It's like, hey, there's a strategy here. Leave the door closed. Okay, dude, I completely understand that guy. And I can think of a couple people that just open the door. And usually, here, let me add to that guy. Man, I hope he hears this someday and goes, that was me that commented that on the New Wave Gaming Facebook page. I hope he hears this. But not only that, but when you're trying to be, you're trying to stealth, there's a squad up on the top floor and you're trying to stealth your way up there and you've got 1 or 2 more squad mates with you. And it's kind of like obvious that you're trying to sneak up there to get those guys, or just to get a position, let's say, and you're in a hot area where there's activity, and one of your squad mates, everyone will be silently moving up the stairs. They'll silently move through, and then the one dude will just boom, blow through the door, just blow through the door. And in Warzone, the doors make a lot of noise. They just splat open, and it's like, well, we're here. And then the cover's blown. So, yes, I completely relate to that guy. It's like, hey, I'm trying to put a mine here and hide it behind a closed door. Don't open the door. Or, better yet, we're trying to get up to this position. Don't blast through the doors or jump through the windows. That's why they have a peek button. That's why God invented the peek button. Forgive me. Anyways,
I've experienced all this with you, and I feel like we've gone to a place where I got jumped on because I was making too much noise, and then so I had to crouch, and then it turned into like I got jumped on for crouching too much, and then like
to your detriment. There's a time and a place for crouching.
Well, so whenever you're
there's a time and a place
whenever
for standing
you're saying,
outside
whenever
of
you're
cover.
giving me that speech about the benefits of not crouching, like I'm thinking to myself, like, yeah, I was crouching because I wanted to be quiet. Like it was that time for me when you looked at me, and then I look at you later and you're crouching, and I'm like.
Here, let me once and for all, let me clear this up, fellow Warzoners. I know you're here. You're hearing me on this. And I might be wrong. And if I'm wrong, I do my best to be mindful of that and accept it. So we'll see. If you hear this, reach out to us, get back at us. I don't think you should crouch when you are imminently about to engage the enemy. And even still in that scenario, there's still situations where you do want to crouch. But what I'm getting at here is in a general sense, if you're face to face with an enemy, or even relatively at that kind of, that's why I'm saying there's scenarios here. But on a general sense, if you're crouched and the other person is not, all they have to do is ADS. They don't even have to like aim really, because your headshot is already at their regular gun level. Does that make sense?
It does.
So if you're crouched,
headshot for sure.
The probability is higher that you'll get downed if you're crouched. But there's still situational stuff there. Like, what if they're up on the top of a building and you have a little bit of a wall there?
You need the cover.
That you need cover. That changes things completely. Then what I'm saying goes out the window. But if you're on a same floor, head-to-head engagement, let's say it's a long hallway. Let's say it's a choke point. You're going forward. They're going forward. You're gonna fight no matter what. And you're crouched, and they peek and shoot. It's just gonna be immediate headshots. So. That's kind of what I'm getting at, and you're right, and I apologize for that, because there are times where it's like, okay, well, we're obviously not in an engagement right now. Move around however.
Yeah.
And then also like, if maybe we're not in an engagement and we're not necessarily about to be in an engagement, but we know there's people in the area using crouch. You need to be mindful about the crouch thing. Because you do want to be silent, and there is only one way to be silent. It's with crouching and going prone. But you also want to be mindful that at any moment they could pop out and just start brah, 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 and you're like, you don't want to be lying down or crouched in that moment. So it's just a balance.
It is, and I think where something interesting comes in is like, I feel like I've never felt like you were just doing it out of malice. Like it was always about getting better and the goal that we had all sort of agreed upon of winning the round. Like,
I mean, I think we all kind of,
we sat down, our overriding goals, we're going to have some fun and, we're going to spend, hang out essentially. But once we've signed into, a game of Resurgence, like it's obvious how the game works. And it's meant to be won.
Makes us lose our minds a little bit and get competitive. Yeah. Makes us a little puffy. Dude, we should do an episode on that.
There's something
like how Warzone
about,
can make you get a little aggro.
How it's a trait of yours, and I don't know that it falls in the OCD world, but you care like about what other people are doing and want them to be better and things like that. And I think I could probably like you could probably put Pepe Tortilla and I in there, and we could play from now on and not really go there with each other. I might pick up on something he did or something, but as far as us ever having a conversation about it, but I don't see it as a bad thing. If I felt like I was just being criticized, you see people that like, to make themselves feel better, they try to talk like other people down and stuff. Like I don't care for that. But if it's solely based on getting better, like in me not getting headshot, like it's not a big deal.
Yeah, but you're also a very tactful, calm-headed, cool mind. You like. I think there's a lot about you that in your character that would say a lot of awesome stuff about you. That for when I get like that, not letting it rub you the wrong way. Because if I were to switch positions and have someone on the other side, doing that to me, I got to be honest, I don't know how I would. I want to think that I would be very receptive of it, especially if I knew that it was like, if I'm new in a game, we're going way off topic here, but if I'm new in a game and the other person's like super experienced in it and I'm learning the ropes, let me take that back. I would be very open to the information that person would be dealing with me. But I would also, if I felt like it was just to disparage me and demean me and my gaming, whatever like that, then I would probably be like, adios, bye, te la lavas, perro, as they say in Spanish.
I mean, I would agree. But there are times, especially when Warzone can whip your ass at times, and just things just not go your way and it get frustrating, and then there's that long ass wait time for the load back, and it can get frustrating. So I think it's just take a deep breath and carry on. Is there anything else from all the comments, man? We're moving well past an hour here. We should wrap it up soon. Let's see. Any more juicy comments on the OCD list from our fellow gamers out there? I'm looking here. Let me see. I got that here too. Man, there's people talk a lot about uncovering like when you get the map and it's not uncovered, like there's sort of a fog of war effect. You got to get that all. Get that out 100%. Yep, been there. With Age of Empires 2, been there. Let's see. And with Grand Theft Auto, with Red Dead Redemption, been there. Clearing out the map. This guy revealing everything. There's a guy named Dan that said, "I seen someone use a med kit, so there wasn't an extra one on the ground. Don't judge me." So it was obviously him. Don't judge me. And that's another. This is all Warzone community, right? It was actually where I posted in No Man's Sky, but I think one you can relate about me, like that's kind of the proper OCD is a symptom is hoarding. Like, I mean, to use that ARC example, like at any one time, like I've got everything in the world in my inventory, and like can't accept putting it down and. I definitely hoard items for sure. I can always sort of picture a scenario where I'm going to need that later kind of feeling. It is definitely in there. Dude, you got so many comments on these posts? Yeah, people related to this. I think that oh my God. John N. wrote, I write everything down that I pick up for items. That's the craziest one I saw. I write everything down, what I pick up for items, character, and companion stats, locations, etc. Holy shit. Yeah. Respect, John N.
Tyronius wrote, I recreated an anthill sculpture underground. What the fuck? Reloading after firing one round. I can relate to that one. We talked about that. Andrew B. writes, organize the food alphabetically, numerically, by color and shape, all at once. My buddy in Arc, Michael S. writes, my buddy in Arc, every building he had built each had 6 stone foundations between each building. Okay, so you had a very symmetrical little deal going.
I could see me doing that for sure.
Oh man, do we got any more? Oh my gosh, dude, there's a lot of comments. Okay, I had to uncover every spot on a map with fog of war effects. I can't stand having a tiny spot of the map still covered. Yep. Hoarding squash in Skyrim homes. My friend back, Nicolas L. writes, my friend back in the good old Amiga 500 days. Race game, test drive. He kept to the speed limit. Oh my goodness. Oh God.
It's like, nope, that's just the way I am.
Yeah, that one's funny, Chuck. I just found the one you said by Dan B. I seen someone use a med kit, so there wasn't an extra one on the ground. Don't judge me. Yeah, that's hilarious. Well, that's pretty awesome. But I think we should wrap it up, Chuck. Fellow gamers, I know you can relate to some of this stuff, and I'm sure you've got some of your own OCD moments that you can share. Definitely reach out to us. You can email us at ovoxandchuk@gmail.com. That's ovoxandchuk@gmail.com. Hit us up there if you like, and we'll read your email out if that's cool. If you don't want us to, that's fine too. Just let us know with your OCD moments, and we'll bring that up in the next episode at the top. And if you enjoy the content, definitely give us a rate and review on your podcast app of choice. That would be super helpful for us as an independent podcast. The best worst gaming podcast, if you ask me, produced out there. I don't know what you think, Chuck. We're all right. I mean,
I think so.
It's decent qual.
I'll be honest with you, I can't think about much other than going to make sure our doors are locked at the base.
Okay, yeah, we need to get off here so Chuck can go check the doors, make sure everything's locked. And yeah, I need to make sure all of the troughs have enough food for our tames so that they don't die. And we're going to be playing some Warzone here in a little bit. We might have some quads going. That'll be fun. That's another thing, dude. Like, just having tons of ammo, hitting every loot box, like those are all little things, So yeah, listeners, definitely hit us up with your OCD moments. It'll be funny. We really get a kick out of reading these comments and stuff. And we're going to try to do that more with some of our upcoming topics. I really like that, Chuck, when you get those interesting questions out there, and just to see how everyone responds and what everyone's experience has been. What else? Well, this has been episode 28. We're coming up on 30. We'll get some special ones in the pipe for these upcoming episodes.
Hell yeah.
Well, that's all I got, Chuck. I love you, man. And I love you, listeners. Thank you so much for joining us. Chuck, any last...
I hope maybe this was therapeutic for some folks to get the OCD into the light out there.
Oh, dude, and I know we're forgetting stuff. I know we're forgetting a bunch of, classic OCD type things that I know we could relate with, especially me, because I'm definitely higher up, I think, on the OCD scale than you and the Tortilla and Mickey the Dick and all of our fellow homie gamers.
I'm starting to feel like my coffee pot might be on right now, though, actually.
Okay.
Go check it.
All right. Well, we'll see you in the next one, everybody.
All right.
Much love. Talk to you soon.
Everyone. Peace.